Hello and welcome to another Endless Cola production. This week I'm sitting here wondering, what's going on with the Xbox? Of course, we'll find out exactly what's going on with the Xbox in just 3 days, but as I write this, we haven't seen what's up Xbox's sleeve, and Phil Spencer is sending some, let's say, mixed messages. On the other hand, after Sony's event, where they revealed the box as well as some killer apps for the PS5, Phil was quoted as saying, he felt good after seeing what Sony had to offer. On the other hand, he's more recently been quoted as saying that generational exclusives are completely counter to what gaming is about. Now, on paper, this sounds awesome for gamers. You can play Xbox games on a cheaper Xbox One, the beefy Series X, or even on your PC if you don't want to have a console at all. In fact, this fall, Xbox has revealed that if you have a Game Pass Ultimate subscription, you'll be able to use xCloud, their own streaming service a la PlayStation Now and Stadia, totally free. So that's great for the gamer, but if you're looking at all this chatter from a business perspective, it makes no sense. Gamers like generational exclusives. Why? Because they are then able to fully realize the power of the next-gen consoles and create games and experiences that we were not previously able to have. Whether or not this is something that will be fully realized this time around, given the similarity of current and next-gen hardware, and Xbox's stubbornness in the face of moving on from a console that most gamers don't have, is something that remains to be seen. However, what is clear is that Xbox does not want to leave Xbox One owners who can't or won't upgrade to the Series X behind. This is noble to be sure, but it leaves early adopters of the Series X kind of reaching for straws as to what the purpose of that upgrade really was. In the end, the real reason you would want a Series X is because it might have some nicer graphics or load a bit faster than the Xbox One. However, the way that Phil is talking about exclusives might suggest that their next-gen lineup isn't ready or isn't good enough to push the hardware by its own. A scenario that if I were an Xbox exclusive gamer would worry me a bit. To that end, their third-party showcase back in May, at least in the eyes of the common internet gamer, severely disappointed. I can say as someone who doesn't have any particular fandom towards Xbox, it certainly didn't blow my skirt up. So it would seem that this event on July 23rd needs to be a pretty big blowout for them. They've already stated outright that they will not have any new hardware, nor will they reveal the launch date or price, so we're stuck with only games. So if this event doesn't blow people away like Sony did last month, Xbox will be in a lot of trouble in terms of grabbing new gamers who aren't already with the brand. But you know what? Maybe that's fine. If you were to ask me what I think Xbox's goal is, I would tell you that it isn't to sell the Series X at all. Their goal is to turn Xbox into an all-encompassing gaming brand. They want you to buy into Game Pass, into Live Gold, into Ultimate, into xCloud, even into Windows to buy their games. Why? Because the simple truth is that hardware isn't how first parties make money. They make money on games that are sold to consumers for that hardware. So if Xbox can convince you to buy their games, they frankly don't care if you own an Xbox or not. Maybe to the point, if they can sell you Game Pass, especially Ultimate, they're hoping that you forget you have it and just keep giving them $15 a month in perpetuity. This is their real plan, folks. Phil Spencer and the people at Xbox don't care if you think the Series X looks like a fridge. They don't care if you buy it. They know that people perceive Game Pass to be the best value in all of video games right now, and they want to keep it that way. They want you to buy their services and stick with them as long as possible so they can actually make a profit. And from my perspective at least, it's totally working. There's a belief right now that there's a showdown between Microsoft and Sony to see who will blink first in revealing their launch date and price. I don't buy this for a second. The reason being that if they don't know when they plan to launch at this point, they're both totally screwed. Making consoles at the scale that these companies do isn't something that just happens overnight. It takes months to make, package, and ship these units to their final destination and get them into your hands. Furthermore, at this point, they're both very aware of how much it costs to make the box, so their ability to flex on price is only so wide. They can't see Sony put out a $400 box and suddenly drop the price they were thinking about $200 to match them. They have financials and accounting that has to be done well in advance, And that kind of change would throw everything out of whack. For a company of Microsoft's size, it's just out of the question. In other words, I believe both Sony and Microsoft have the plan for when they're going to tell us launch information, and they likely already know what the other one is doing as well. So this concept that they're both waiting on each other just can't be true. I imagine we'll find out very soon when they will launch and the price. And if you were to ask me, I think regardless of what that date and price is, PS5 will wipe the floor with Xbox sales-wise. But that's okay, and I think Xbox knows it too. Because Xbox doesn't care. The reason that Xbox and Phil Spencer are talking like this is they want you to buy their services, not their box, and as long as they succeed on that front, which they definitely are right now, by the way, then PS5 could go on to be the greatest selling console of all time and wipe Xbox consoles out of the marketplace entirely, and they just wouldn't care. But that's not going to happen. Most likely we'll see something similar to this generation, where PS5 will dramatically outsell Series X, but Xbox will continue to grab up more and more of the streaming and services market share. The difference in power will likely make no difference to the average consumer. It definitely won't matter to the Japanese market, who almost seem to wish Xbox would just go away entirely right now. And it probably won't impact cross-platform titles very much either, despite what I've seen some people say. I'll be interested to see if Sony is going to respond to all these goings-on by marketing PlayStation Now better and putting their foot forward with what is objectively a great service, even if you disregard that you can only stream PS3 games. But given that making PS3 games native would be a huge challenge that probably isn't worth it to them, adding more and more PS4 and PS2 titles along with maybe some PS1 titles, and of course PS5 titles down the road will continue to make the service valuable, and in my opinion just requires better marketing to push it right up against Xbox Game Pass services in terms of popular opinion and ultimately market share. But more than that, I'm really interested to see what Xbox has to show. Will they blow us all away on Thursday and back up Spencer's claims that Xbox has no reason to be worried after Sony's showcase? Will he prove everything I just said totally wrong, reveal a bunch of incredible and high-quality games that will sell millions and millions of units and re-solidify the Xbox console as a box that's here to stay? Honestly, I hope so. The gamer-friendly moves that they're making over there is something that gamers on all platforms should be jealous of, but will force the entire industry to take notice. For now, we'll just have to wait and see. Luckily, we won't have to wait very long, as in just 3 days' time, we'll be seeing everything that Xbox has, except for when the box is actually coming out. Rumor has it that that's going to happen sometime in August, but again, we just have to wait and see. I wouldn't be surprised a response from Sony after Thursday's event. At the end of the day, I think Xbox is going to be fine. They're going in a totally different direction than Sony is, but more importantly, they're going in a totally different direction than hardware manufacturers in the past have gone. They're no longer looking at Xbox as a platform where you're going to see an Xbox 5 and then an Xbox 6 and an Xbox 7 after the Series X. They're thinking bigger picture. They're looking to replace that box that sits in your living room with their services. I think if Xbox had their way, you would see Game Pass on PlayStation 5. You would see Game Pass on PC in a more robust way. You would see their services take over the gaming landscape so that no matter where you like to game, you can get Xbox games and give them more money. And truthfully, that might be the real future of the gaming industry. Paying for things in services like we do with music and like we do with movies, with things like Netflix and Apple Music and Google Play Music and whatever you subscribe to might be the way that we end up going in the future. People really seem to love Game Pass, and I can't blame them. Paying a small monthly fee and being able to play any brand new Xbox game that comes out is an extremely enticing proposition. Xbox might be on the right path, they might not, but I'm sure we'll find out during this generation whether or not both can succeed at the same time. I think they can. I think there's room for PlayStation 5 to be the traditional standard box and Xbox to be more of a services. And I think that serves all gamers a little bit better. That's it for me this week. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like and subscribe. If you want more of this kind of content, be sure to hit that bell so you get notified whenever a new video goes live. As a side note, the podcast is now live on many of the major podcast services as well as YouTube as normal, with many more services coming soon. And we have a Patreon. If you want to support the channel and the podcast, feel free to jump over there and become a patron for some cool perks, or hit us up in the Discord and join the community. All links are available in the description as always, and until next time, have fun out there, guys.